The character introduced as Sheldon's replacement in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage sneakily displayed a disturbing similarity with the Big Bang Theory genius in Season 1. First marriage partly continuing young Sheldon's story after Sheldon's departure for California ensured the young genius wouldn't have been a key part of the spin-off. However, one McAllister was quickly revealed as his replacement. Young Sheldon already showed the similarities between Connor and Sheldon as hinging on their being misunderstood by their families. First Marriage Season 1 developing Connor by setting him apart from Sheldon made Mandy's brother seem much more approachable than Sheldon, despite appreciating his personal space just like the genius. However, one First Marriage Season 1 episode highlighted another disturbing resemblance. One Connor comment in First Marriage Episode 16 mirrored Sheldon's misogyny in TBBT. Connor's comment was more toned down than anything Sheldon ever said in TBBT. Sheldon's misogyny in Big Bang Theory was never a secret. From the multiple times he inquired whether Penny or Amy were on their period after displaying anger at something he did, to repeatedly calling women slaves to their biological urges, Sheldon's sexism was neither subtle nor infrequent. His comments seemed less problematic only in comparison to his friends' worse comments. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage instead never showed Connor as sharing Sheldon's beliefs. While the two were shown as both very particular regarding what they enthused about and how much their interests focused their every moment, First Marriage portrayed Connor as someone generally more open than Sheldon. Still, one of Connor's offhanded comments revealed its inherent misogyny in Episode 16. First Marriage Episode 16, Baby Fight, focused entirely on Georgie and Mandy's difference of opinion regarding having another baby. After Georgie went to his mother's place, a discussion over at the McAllisters debated Mandy's choice, prompting her to erupt by saying that her uterus wasn't a democracy, to which Connor responded, "Pretty touchy. We sure she's not already pregnant?" While easy to miss and more restrained a comment than anything Sheldon ever aimed at women, Connor's assumption that hormones drove Mandy's angry statement had very clear sexist undertones. Indeed, not only was his comment a rehashing of a notorious stereotype, but it also didn't acknowledge how stressful it was for Mandy that everybody had opinions about her choice. Why Connor can get away with his misogyny better than Sheldon did. Connor's misogyny appeared once throughout Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1. With Connor's comment in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, Episode 16 being the only time he remarked on something in a misogynistic way, it's easier to cut him some slack compared to Sheldon. Indeed, it could have been just a lapse, while Sheldon's comments were so many over the years that they could never be mistaken as such. Another reason why Connor can more easily forgiven compared to Sheldon is his generally positive relationships with all the female Georgie and Mandy's first marriage characters in his life. Between his and Mandy's closer bond, his relationship with Chloe, and how well he got along with Audrey, Connor doesn't seem to share Sheldon's problem of connecting with others. Adding to this, Connor's general likability, which was never one of Sheldon's core characteristics, it's easy to see why Connor might get away with his comment better than Sheldon. Hopefully, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 can build Connor even better as a character, letting this comment only be a lapse. When CBS greenlit First Marriage, a quirky sitcom about an eccentric newlywed scientist navigating the perils of early marital life, comparisons to The Big Bang Theory were inevitable. But no one expected the show's breakout star, Thomas Wexley, to be hailed as the next Sheldon Cooper. From the pilot episode, Wexley's character, Dr. Graham Leland, dazzled with his encyclopedic knowledge of quantum mechanics, rigid social routines, and complete obliviousness to sarcasm. Fans quickly took notice. Memes flooded social media. Graham is Sheldon 2.0. What if Sheldon actually got married first? Is this TBBT, the sequel? Even Jim Parsons, who famously played Sheldon Cooper for over a decade, weighed in with a playful Instagram comment, "Great minds think alike, just not at the same frequency." But as the comparisons grew louder, Wexley decided to speak out. A sit-down with TV's newest quirky genius. In a rare, candid interview with TV Line Weekly, Thomas Wexley opened up about stepping into the metaphorical shoes of a television titan, and what he believes is Sheldon Cooper's worst trait, one he was determined not to repeat. "I've always admired Sheldon as a character," Wexley began. "He's iconic. But there's one thing about him that always made me cringe, and that's his complete lack of emotional accountability." Wexley leaned forward in his chair, hands clasped, as if confessing a long-held secret. Sheldon could be brilliant, yes. But the way he dismissed the emotions of others? How he bulldozed through their feelings for the sake of logic. That, to me, was his worst trait. It made him funny, but not always human. The genius with a heart. Sort of. In First Marriage, Dr. Graham Leland shares many of Sheldon's traits. He's a theoretical physicist who wears the same 3 cardigans every week, owns a custom-built robot vacuum he's emotionally attached to, and once corrected his wife's grammar in his wedding vows. But unlike Sheldon, Graham tries, however awkwardly, to acknowledge when he's hurt someone. In Episode 4, titled Apology Algorithm, Graham attempts to make amends for forgetting his wife Clara's birthday by presenting her with a 12-slide PowerPoint presentation on the biological origins of memory lapses. When Clara breaks down crying, Graham initially fumbles, but then stammers out, "I'm sorry. Not because I understand your sadness. But because I can see it matters to you. And that matters to me." The moment was clunky. Imperfect. But it resonated. "I didn't want Graham to be a copy-paste Sheldon," Wexley emphasized. "I wanted him to learn empathy, not just simulate it." A writer's delicate balance. Showrunner Olivia Huang, who previously worked as a staff writer on Young Sheldon, revealed that developing Graham's character was like walking a tightrope. "We wanted to honor what made Sheldon lovable, the logic, the bluntness, the brilliance," she explained. "But we also wanted to evolve. Graham's married. He's in this relationship where, unlike with Leonard and Penny, he is the emotionally clueless one, but now he has no buffer. His wife is not a roommate. She's his partner." Huang admitted that they kept a Sheldon wall of don'ts in the writer's room. It had things like, "Don't make emotional growth a punchline," or "Don't let quirks replace responsibility." They also referenced The Big Bang Theory's controversial moments, such as Sheldon using his contract obsessions to manipulate relationships, as cautionary canon. Fan reactions, love, loyalty, and laughter. Die-hard TBBT fans have had mixed reactions to Wexley's Graham. "Dr. Graham feels like if Sheldon went to therapy in Season 2, one Reddit user joked. And honestly? I love it." Another wrote, "I'm torn. I miss Sheldon's unapologetic chaos. Graham is like a softer clone. I get that he's trying to be better, but sometimes it feels forced." Still, First Marriage has found its own audience, and plenty of crossover fans. The show's Season 1 finale, which saw Graham try to recreate Clara's childhood backyard using holographic projections and leftover particle accelerator parts, was both laugh-out-loud funny and strangely moving. "It's classic Big Bang absurdity," said one critic, "with a touch more soul. The Sheldon legacy, a blessing and a burden." When asked if he ever feels overshadowed by Jim Parsons' legacy, Wexley laughed. "Every day. How do you compete with someone who literally turned neurodivergence into a catchphrase?" He paused, then added more seriously, "But I'm not here to replace Sheldon. I'm here to build a new character that maybe learns from Sheldon's mistakes." And that learning curve, according to Wexley, is what makes Graham compelling. There's this moment in Episode 6, where Graham tells Clara, "I can't always feel what you feel. But I want to stand next to you while you feel it." That's the crux of who he is. He's trying. Final thought, the evolution of the sitcom genius. Television is full of lovable geniuses: Frasier Crane, Monk, Gregory House, and of course, Sheldon Cooper. But what Wexley and the team behind First Marriage aim to do is take that archetype a step further, toward emotional fluency, not just intellectual flair. If Sheldon was the prototype, Wexley concluded, maybe Graham is the upgrade. And whether audiences ultimately prefer the original or the evolution, one thing's for sure: TV's genius archetype is growing up, cardigans, quirks, and all.